Well, today, on Facebook, yes, Facebook again, things come up, and now they're actually every day giving you a memory from a year ago, 4 years ago, something like that. And it's kind of like, wow, yeah, that was cool. And it's something that maybe got a lot of interest or whatever. And what came up this past week on mine was last December, their women, WNC magazine, Western North Carolina Woman, they did an article on the Namaste Center. And Jonna Ray Bartis had actually interviewed me, and it was really a sweet article. She did a great job with it. And it was all about the center and where we came from and how we operate and all that good stuff. Well, the title I really loved because she titled it Laughter, Leadership, and Love. It's the Namaste Way. And it's just there when I can't wait to get here on Sundays. I hear that from you guys. There's just so much joy and love and laughter and also just the experience of peace and of God at such a deep level. It's wonderful. And then to really see that people can actually leave here and carry it throughout their week, and it's a beautiful thing. So laughter, for sure, is, to me, so high spiritually. It's such a high vibration. The Spirit of God is the spirit of joy. So, of course, I like now to start with a little bit of a humor. And today, since it's Christmas, I might give you two little jokes. Merry Christmas, you guys. So anyway, there was this married couple, and they were celebrating in a fine restaurant their 40th anniversary. And, they had a beautiful marriage, and they were just so happy to get to this point in their relationship. And they were at the restaurant, and all of a sudden, this little fairy came and said, you guys have been so wonderful. I'm going to grant you each a wish. And the woman's like, oh, great. She says, well, my wish would be to travel around the world with my sweetie here. And the fairy says, no problem. So she gives her 2 tickets for a world cruise on the Queen Mary. And she's like, oh, my goodness, this is better than anything I could have expected. And so when it came the husband's turn, the fairy said, well, what would you like? And he says, well, I'd really like to do that cruise, but what I'd really like is to find a woman 30 years younger. And so needless to say, that burst the bubble, and the fairy godmother's looking, and the wife is distraught, obviously. So zap, the fairy godmother made him 92 years old. So the moral of the story is be careful what you ask for. Yes, indeed. So if a fairy comes to grant your wishes, be mindful about that. And of course, this other one is about 3 monks who decided to practice meditation together. And they sat by the side of a lake and closed their eyes and contemplated and meditated. And suddenly, the first one stood up and said, I forgot my hat. So he stepped miraculously on the water in front of him and walked across to their hut on the other side, just walked right on the water. When he returned, the second monk said, oh gosh, I forgot to put my laundry up to dry. So he walked calmly across the water just like the first monk did. And so the third monk watched the first 2 carefully, and he decided this must be a test of his own abilities. And so he says, is your learning superior to mine? I too can match any feat you two can perform. So he declared that loudly and rushed to the water's edge to walk across, and promptly he fell into the deep water. Undeterred, the yogi climbed out of the water and tried again, only to sink in the water each time. Yet again he tried, and yet again he sank. This went on for some time as the other 2 monks watched. After a while, the second monk turned to the first monk and said, do you think we should tell him where the stones are? Okay, so there you have it. So double presents today. But again, that vibe of joy, and we're just so blessed, and we've got a great day coming up. One thing that I tell you, I never thought, I'm really not that much into stuff anymore. I'm actually choosing to get rid of a lot of stuff. But one thing that's really got me so excited is this. And those of you that know, we got a beautiful one last year. It broke. And that was such a bummer, but God bless you, Barbara, for gifting us with a new one. And we have been in here playing with this and listening to music and watching movies. Movie night will start back up. It's a blast, and it's a smart TV. And if you don't have one, look into them. They're really cool. Because oh, there you go. Maybe, yeah. There you go. But so that's brought me a great deal of joy. That toy up there. But anyway, on another note, very interesting. This week has been a week of tragedy, and there was the mass shooting. I know a lot of you guys don't watch the media, and that's wonderful. But there was a mass shooting in San Bernardino, California. 14 people killed, and another 20 or so injured. And it was at a facility that cared for people with disabilities. And it was obviously sad, to say the least, and tragic. And here we are in this joy, yet there are things going on around the world. This morning, apparently in Paris, there was a stabbing in the tube. Was it in Paris or London? Maybe London. Yeah. London, in the tube. Mm-hmm, in London. And so, and people were killed there. So there are things going on in this world that aren't so pleasant, to say the least. But I do want to offer a different perspective, as I always do, of how we can be of the greatest degree of service in these times. Because this is really what our Namaste Center is about to me, and that is being of service to these people who are hurting so bad, and what's the best thing we can do. And so I'll step back a little bit. This past Kathy has been leading a contemplative we space meditation on Mondays at 3:00, and I have yet to attend one, not because I've not wanted to, it's just not worked out yet. But she did offer a beautiful presentation this past Wednesday night. And I have to say, and Linda wrote an article about it for our newsletter, and she had said in the article that she had never experienced such a powerful meditation. And I have to say, I was right there with you, Linda. It was so wonderful and powerful. And it was a group of 8 of us. We came together and we meditated, and it just, we all just were in that total space of nothingness and love and bliss and peace. So that got my wheels spinning, of course, which how we can really use this in our mission and in our work here at the Namaste Center. But one thing that Kathy also spoke about is the new paradigm. And one of the handouts she gave had some definitions about her work, and one being paradigm. And I want to share that with you and then talk a little bit about it. But a paradigm is a deeply held shared belief and value of cultures that actually generate the background assumptions that define reality and how to be in reality. So it's really just paradigms are mass beliefs. It's we're experiencing one paradigm in our world, but there's nothing to say that we can't step out of that and shift it. And Kathy's a big believer in creating a new paradigm for our world of what that looks like. And I'm all for that. It's a paradigm where God's will is done, where we're really, truly living from the greatest degree of love coming from our hearts in everything we do. And that way, that will be the experience of heaven on earth. That is when God's will is done. And so going back to our Namaste Center, it is about laughter and love and leadership. And leadership, we're all, those of you that have been here a long time, my goal is, my role is what I do. I manage things around here, sort of, kind of, and with a lot of help from my friends. And I get up and talk on Sundays, and I work with you guys, and that's my role. But my bigger role is to be of service to each and every person here and finding their voice, their message, and stepping up to their voice and living from that to the greatest degree. And so I want to see everybody empowered, everybody level and even. So many churches are about, I'd spoken to someone about a church that I'd heard of. And I said, oh, I hear that minister's really good. And they said, well, yeah, but it's all about them. And I didn't, she said that's, why she wasn't interested. And, I don't see this being all about me. It's all about we here. It really is. And that's as a matter of fact, each and every person here has the greatest gifts that I've ever seen. I mean, we're blessed with music and healers and artists. That's why we are the Namaste Center for Spirituality, Healing, and the Arts, because we're just so blessed. Vicky's wonderful art that hangs here beautifully, and the music, everything. So it's wonderful. And so, this new paradigm, I believe that, I told Kathy I want to get with her, and so we can discuss ways so that, we can be on that leading edge of this shift. Well, we already are, and the shift is happening. I mean, shift is happening for sure. And but it's about us, coming together, and the power of that meditation of 8 people. If we could get a group coming together, just tuning in to spirit, tuning out of the chatter of the world, and opening up, then we are co-creating this. This is a co-creative process where each and every one of us has a role. And our role is really to get out of the way and just totally be led by spirit. And to do this, I speak of this often, we have to be willing to totally forgive our past, totally open ourselves up to God's will, not our will, which, by the way, is so much better if you haven't tried it than anything you could ever imagine. We can sit here and we can make things happen and do this and be doobie-do, but it's okay. But eventually we get to the point where it's like, wow, I got that, but there's got to be something more. And so really opening up to God's will, pure surrender, total surrender into God's will. So, this part of this process, that Kathy shared with us, was about, she talked about qualities for unity and getting into this consciousness. And this is, when we're at the end of the meditation, she asked that we speak from the present moment experience. Don't go into the past. It's over. All your past except its beauty is gone, okay? That's the Course in Miracles. Have a beginner's mind. We don't, humble yourself. Say, I know nothing. Because until we can get into that beginner's mind, if we think we know better, we're not really opening to receive. Listen wholeheartedly to each other. Give that person your full attention. And allow for space between each share. Not jumping in as soon as this person's done, jump into the next comment here. But really take it in, be in that moment fully. And then I like the last part is you don't have to make sense, which that takes any pressure off, right? Because, because otherwise your mind is going, oh, what can I say? It's going to be really cool and, that's going to really make the group think I'm so hot or whatever. But if we can just totally, doesn't matter if we make sense or not. It really doesn't. It's just what's coming from our heart. And so I really ask you guys to consider, joining us in whatever process that comes to us. I remember in Florida, it was an amazing, when I made that shift from traditional Christianity to unity. I went to this, where Julie went, to Unity of the Palm Beaches. The founding ministers, Hal and Lassie, were wonderful people. That, talk about leading edge. That church really, back in the 80s, had it going on. And anyway, there was a little chapel, a tiny little chapel, maybe 15 chairs in there, dark, just a little bit of lighting. And every day you could bet your bottom dollar that Lassie would be sitting there at 5 o'clock, and she would be in silence. And she would be there every single day, 365 a year. Without a doubt, you knew she would be there. And, well, if she was sick or something or out of town, obviously she wasn't, but that space was still, that sacred time was still there. So people would come in and just join in the silence, and you'd leave. You didn't talk, you didn't say anything, you would just come in and leave. And I was so grateful for that experience. And I really would love to consider doing something of the like in the new year, just to have a time every day that we could come here and just be still, be quiet. Know that for an hour that we could just know that this is a safe place to come every day. So keep that in mind, and we're going to, I think, make that happen somehow. And I'm looking for partners in this who can be a part of it, because it is a commitment of time every day, and I don't think I have the time or availability to do it on an everyday basis, but I'd certainly love to see it happen and be a part of it. So anyway, back to all the stuff in the world. And, it can just turn on the TV and, boy, it's a lot. And talking to a few people this morning, this morning, Ed's car broke down on the way in here, a block away. Said it was smoking, right? And Ellen's son-in-law was flown to Boston, a situation, health situation. And, it's a lot of stuff, life keeps throwing us challenges. And so it's not really I don't think we're ever free of things happening in the world. Maybe not. I'm holding that paradigm shift that eventually we'll all get it and co-create heaven on earth. But for the time being is how can we be of greatest service? And in the Course in Miracles, I believe it's chapter 6, the chapter is titled The Forgiveness of Illusions. And there's the first section in there is true empathy. And, people always say, oh, I'm an empath. I feel people's pain. And, that's not what the true empathy that the Course speaks of. And I love this because to me it's so powerful and true. And this is the greatest gift we can offer. And it goes on to say, to empathize does not mean you join in suffering, for that is what you must refuse to understand. That is the ego's interpretation of empathy, and it's always used to form a special relationship in which the suffering is shared. The capacity to empathize is very useful to the Holy Spirit, provided you let Him use it in His way. His way is very different. He does not understand suffering, and would have you teach it is not understandable. When He relates through you, He does not relate to your ego to another ego. He does not join in pain, understanding that healing pain is not accomplished by delusional attempts to enter into it and lighten it during the delusion. So, I'm feeling I feel your pain. How many times have we said that? Well, what this is really asking us to do is to understand, yes, there is pain, but to join in that suffering is not useful. It's not offering anything except more pain. So it's up to us to have detached compassion. In other words, be compassionate. Understand that people are suffering in their experience. But the greatest gift I can give to them is to be compassionate, but to also hold that space of peace and love. And of course, Jesus and other masters have demonstrated that to us and for us because they were able to see the truth, not the story, not the drama, of war and conflict and suffering, bodily suffering, but to go beyond that and to see that the essence of everything is in divine order and perfect. So it's really important, I think, in this time for us to pay attention when not to be the old paradigm of an empath and feeling that pain, but to be able to watch it without judgment, take a breath, ask the Holy Spirit, how can I be of greatest service here? And when we do that, that's how we're lightening for everybody, because that's not our truth. The truth of who we are is far greater than anything we can imagine. We just have to open up and make space for it. There's a quote in the Course in Miracles, and it just really resonates to me right now, because this is a paradigm and a vision I hold and I dream of. And it says, the holiest place on earth is where an ancient hatred has become a present love. And, we can start with our own stuff. That's really the only place we can really do it anyway, is where am I still holding those ancient hatreds? And if I can make that a present love, that's the holiest place on earth. But at a global level, I see this being where we literally, that we can join nations who were at war will see each other in love. That's the paradigm and the truth I choose to create. And of course, as I believe it was Gandhi who said this. And this is, I don't see this as an impossibility at all. Actually, I see this as the truth. But he says, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, but then you win. So in my mind, love wins, and we're all co-creating a new paradigm. So I hope you all can share your thoughts and ideas with me going into the new year of how we can really, put feet to our prayers, as they say. So in the meantime, peace and love prevail on earth, and so it is. Namaste.